Stephanie, and welcome to Wine Club. This is the playlist where I drink good wine while I whine about bad books. And I am drinking a white because we're talking about a ghostly book, so figured it was really fitting. Because we are talking about An Enchanting Case of Spirits by Melissa Holtz. Now, fair warning, there are going to be spoilers and shit talking in this review. If that is not your varietal, you will not like this video. If you enjoyed this book, I love that for you and I am so happy for you, but you might want to click away now because I am not going to have a lot of nice things to say about this. Also, speaking of varietals, I am drinking a lovely Vinho Verde from Portugal because, again, it's white and it fits with the ghostly theme, so it felt very on brand. Now, if you do want a spoiler-free version of this review, please check out my What I Read in May video. Although, again, I don't recommend this book, so I don't know why you'd want to. I also want to say that this review is solely about the book and not about Holtz as a person. I am sure she is absolutely lovely. I also have to say, I was so excited for this. I wanted a light, funny read. One of my favorite books of all time is 20s Girl by Sophie Kinsella. That has ghosts, romance, and humor, and it is perfect, and I love that book. Like, it is a book that I can reread and still laugh and love every single time that I read it. So I figured another book that kind of sounded like it was in the same vein would be right up my alley. Let's actually talk about the premise of the book and see why I thought that. You idiot. When a 40th birthday celebration leads to a ghostly visitor, 3 friends find themselves navigating surprising mysteries and spiritual hijinks in this clever debut from Melissa Holtz. Alyssa Mann isn't adventurous. Not since her husband died, and she found herself the single mom of a teenage daughter. But there's no way to avoid celebrating the big 4-0. So when her best friends drag her out for drinks and a tarot reading, she throws caution to the wind and decides to see what the spirits have to say. It's all fun and games until she wakes up the next morning with a wicked hangover and a ghost standing at the end of her bed. Sheer panic sends her running for help from Nick West, the very attractive detective who lives next door. When he finds no one in her house, Alyssa has to accept that she really did see a ghost. As the dearly departed keep appearing, Alyssa and her friends do their best to learn how to control her newfound power, trading insults with ghosts, returning family heirlooms, and getting closer to the skeptical, but helpful Nick, is more fun than Alyssa imagined. But when looking into one ghost's past reveals unexpected and unwelcome facts about Alyssa's late husband's death, she discovers she just may be in over her head. I'm just kidding. Now I'm really wishing I had poured a red, because this book made me see red. I gotta call out the back cover copy here as more fun than Alyssa imagined. Alyssa does not have fun. This is not fun. This book is not funny. Like, this book was horrendous. I was not enchanted whatsoever. Oh, okay, maybe that's not true. This book isn't enchanting per se, but it is cursed. I wanted to DNF at 130 pages, but it was so bad that I couldn't put it down. And again, I think this book put a hex on me because I felt compelled to keep going. I would keep reading and I would just find something new to completely hate. And mostly, I hate our main character. Alyssa is so flawed that I kept thinking, oh, surely she's going to recognize what a miser she is and turn things around, and this will get so much better. It did not. Our protagonist, Alyssa, is the most miserable human being that I've ever had the misfortune to read about. I have not hated a main character so much since whatever her name was in The Blackwood House by Darcy Coates, because Alyssa was awful. Do you see all these tabs? Do you see where I turn down the page? All of them are marks of where I wanted to reach into the book and throat punch Alyssa because she is such a bitch. there's the exception of one. One is where the hero, Nick, has apparently had a stroke because he thinks Alyssa is witty and easy to be around. No, Nick. Just no. She's not easy to be around. I was stuck with this bitch for 350 pages and can definitively say that she sucks. She's not snarky but humorous. She is downright hostile. Alyssa is insufferable. I truly kept hoping that it was going to be a twist that she was dead too, and that's why she was seeing all these ghosts all of a sudden. Because she is just so mean to everyone, and for absolutely no reason. She did not have to be this antagonistic, especially since she doesn't, change by the end of the book. She's a pretty flat character. I get that the author was going for a snarky vibe, and that Alyssa is just really sarcastic, but I speak sarcasm fluently, and she is just a straight-up bitch. In fact, she is a see you next Tuesday, and I don't throw that word around lightly. She lashes out at everybody for no reason and takes no accountability for anything, and just also doesn't want to do anything ever. She's having more fun than she ever imagined? Yeah, because I don't think she's ever imagined having a fun day ever. Again, I'm curious where the back cover copy thinks that she's having fun, as she is most definitely not fun to read about. Again, she snaps at everyone, dismisses anyone who doesn't do exactly what she says, even though at times she knows she doesn't know what to do and people are just trying to help, and she's like, well, that's stupid, that won't work. What a rude bitch. It is a Christmas miracle that her friends still like her and try to make an effort with her, because I sure as shit wouldn't. I'm gonna read you some of my tabs because I can't believe this is our main character. So on page 15, we're meeting her friends, and they used to do a Thursday night ritual where they'd meet up for drinks. And obviously Alyssa has been skipping that since her husband died, but he also died 2 years ago. So her friends have still been doing this ritual. And so she just found out that they met up. A twinge of hurt passes over me at the knowledge my friends reprised our Thursday girls' night without me. Not that I can blame them. It was my decision to put it on hold, and I haven't given either of them any indication I was ready to start again. We didn't think you were ready, love. Last Thursday was a very last-minute thing, Nina says, leaning forward, looking uncomfortable. Completely ignoring Nina, I turn towards Lainey. Why does Thursday night need modernizing? I ask, air quoting the word with both hands. What does that entail? We're just trying to spice it up with some woo-woo intermixed with the wine. Her eyes widen animatedly. Spirits all around, she says, waggling her eyebrows. Get it? Spirits as in ghosts and spirits as in, well, yeah, I got it. I grab the salt shaker, inspecting it for no other reason but to avoid eye contact with my friends. Alyssa, Nina draws out my name. Don't do that. We didn't intentionally leave you out. I cluck my tongue, raising my chin to meet her eyes. I know. It's all good. You're the one who said you didn't want to go. And then 10 pages later. Okay, so page 28, they're at the tarot reading / seance that this thing turns into, because, again, she wants to contact her dead husband. And so they're sitting at the table, and, Alyssa felt, a weird sensation. Can someone explain what the hell you all felt? Nina's voice pitches, signaling she's scared. Not a surprise. Nina is the resident scaredy cat. Always has been. She doesn't watch horror movies, doesn't particularly love Halloween, and ultimately isn't for anything that sneaks up on her. It was me, Lainey admits. My phone buzzed and my head drops back and I groan, growing agitated by the constant interruptions. It was not a phone vibration, idiot. Alyssa, Nina chastises while Lainey looks on in shock. I'm lashing out because I'm off kilter and it isn't fair to Lainey. I mouth the word, sorry, and she nods her acknowledgement. Corinne clasps her hands together, garnering our attention. All right, calm down. Let's all take hands so that we can all, hopefully, get answers. So then they continue, and, literally half a page later, I've been here less than 5 minutes and I'm ready to bolt. Weren't you the one who just, were mad about the constant interruptions and yet now you want to go? And then, so Corinne, the tarot reader, continues going. What happens next borders on bizarre and truly outrageous. It's worse than the strange sensations and possible fire. Her voice shifts into something straight out of a B-rated horror movie, and I am instantly shooketh. So then Corinne starts calling out for, like, the spirits. It's as though a different person is seated where Corinne once was. Someone older, more experienced in the ways of woo-woo. She sways back and forth, gyrating her chest and shoulders. My eyeballs bulge, and I have to refrain from breaking into a fit of giggles. Am I imagining this? We're moments away from needing to call the Catholic Church for an exorcism, and neither one of my friends appears to recognize it. Their heads are still bowed, eyes closed. I'm alarmed, fearing that we're dealing with a crazy person, who obviously hates people according to her shirt, and these two haven't so much flinched. Their apparent trance has me questioning what sort of hex Corinne has placed over my friends. Calm down, crazy. I've been to psychics before. They're generally over the top, but Corinne takes the cake. She's next level loony, and I'm 2 seconds away from pulling Nina out of here and leaving Lainey to fend for herself. She got us into this mess. Ugh, you're the one who wanted to go and wanted to continue doing this seance. So then, again, that was page 29. Page 32. They're experiencing something weird, and her friends are like, well, let's go. And Alyssa is all, oh no, we need to stay. Like, I want to do this. Which again, this bitch is just constantly flip-flopping back and forth. Like, oh, this is crazy. We need to leave. Oh, I want to stay. Oh, this is crazy. We need to leave. Oh, she wants to stay. So page 32. She stands to leave, and I yell out, no, shaking my head vehemently. I want to do this. We came all this way, and something happened. I hold Nina's stare, hoping to convey that although I'm nervous about what's to come, I don't want to throw in the towel. I need you to trust that Corinne can do this. Desperation to contact Garrett, her deceased husband, clings to me like lint, forcing me to come to terms with the fact that I mean what I say. My stance has shifted, and I believe, for the time being, it's possible. And then she's basically saying, like, I'm open, Garrett. I'm hyper-focused on willing him into this room. And, the back cover copy already gives it away. She's going to see a ghost. So then... Okay, so page 67, she just ran off to her neighbor's house because the ghost was at the end of her bed. And she's telling him, what happened and that he just disappeared. He sets down the pen, folding his hands in front of him. I'm going to need you to describe what poof entails. I glare at Nick. Really? I'm just trying to work out all the details. Like I said, I want to help keep you safe, and details are important. I told him I didn't want him here, and he literally vanished. I thought maybe he dropped to the floor and crawled under my bed, but he didn't. He was gone. Like poof, I repeat. As the words leave my mouth, I hear the absolute absurdity of what I'm implying. I haven't once doubted that the man at the end of my bed is a ghost, but I haven't had an opportunity to consider what that means and how it concerns me. Believing in the possibility of the supernatural is one thing. Having it confirmed is quite another. The triumph of being right bleeds away and fear creeps back into me. Nick blinks several times, chewing on his cheek. Could you have dreamed the situation? He asks, keeping his eyes on the computer screen. What? No, I didn't dream it, I spit out, fear turning to fury. I'm a grown-ass woman. I know the difference between a dream and reality. I'm not losing my mind. His hands rise in surrender. Okay, you didn't dream it. I'm just being thorough. No, you're being mean. Have I not been tormented enough tonight? Now you want to humiliate me? I can't with this lady. So then, page 93, she's gone back to confront Corinne and figure out what's going on. And so, Corinne does her readings out of the back of a nail salon, so she's just walking through it. The manager is like, hello, hi, excuse me, where do you think you're going? And she just keeps on walking, basically does not care that she's ignoring this guy, even though he's the business owner. So then he's like, oh, you're the lady that did the reading the other night where something weird happened. And so, yeah, page 93. You're part of the freak fest from the other night. My hands shoot into the air. Wonderful. Now I have an insane medium / nail tech's brother calling me a freak. Want to kick a puppy while you're at it? What? That's not what's happening here, you weirdo. So then page 114, Corinne has given her a spell book to help with her mediumship. And her friend Lainey's telling her what to do. So focus on whatever image or memory makes you most happy. Now, visualize a warm light surrounding you on all sides, creating a bubble around your entire being. When you feel safe inside this cocoon of light, say to the spirit, go away. Go away. My nose scrunches up and I read and reread the passage, waiting for the punchline. I turn my head to Lainey, assuming she'll be on the same page as me. Totally, she says, bobbing her head as though it makes perfect sense. Totally what? Uninspiring? I motion toward the offending book. Come on, Lainey, this is total crap. She smacks her lips together, further irritating me. Gee. I can see you're disappointed. Disappointed? That hardly cuts it. I don't think these people have a clue what they're talking about, and now I'm stuck with Billy the Idiot for life. Now, Billy the Idiot is the ghost who appeared on her bed. He has done nothing wrong. And he's dead. I closed the book, falling back into the cushions with a huff. For one short minute, I thought that book might have been the answer to all my problems. Instead, it was an epic letdown. You're an epic letdown. Okay, then I've got a lot to choose from, as you can see. So then on page 202, she's talking to Billy the ghost and asking what happened after he died and what does he remember. She just wants to know what her husband might have experienced. Then she has the audacity to say, I can only hope whoever he's connected with treats him well. After calling her ghost an idiot and insulting him and being mean, sure, your husband deserves someone who treats them well, but you're sure as shit not going to treat any of the ghosts you come across well. So then again on page 209, she and Nick are still having a debate about whether what she's experiencing is real or not. He nods, lowering his hands to his lap. I'm not saying my stance is correct, but that's all I know. There was never a time I thought someone like Nick would be easily convinced of the supernatural. Even still, I feel my hackles rising out of pure indignation, because even though he doesn't realize it's me who's seeing ghosts, I'm taking this far too personally. You take everything far too personally. You psycho. So then on page 237, she is having a spa day and realizes there's a ghost who's trying to make contact with one of the technicians there. And she just, wants to pass off a message to her sister to help her move on. And of course, this is a huge inconvenience for Alyssa during her spa day. Mind you, she does not work. She's living off her husband's insurance. So she's just floating through life. And so she passes along the message. I relay the message and Tasha swallows. She's really here? Yes. And no offense to you or your sister, but I'd like to get back to my pamper day. Can you say what you need to say so she can go into the light? She sucks her top lip into her mouth, shoulders slumping. Is that what she wants? To leave? Yes, it's Savannah who speaks, but Tasha can't hear. I nod in confirmation, and the pink-haired girl sighs heavily, eyes closing. And then she tells her something, and they have a nice sisterly moment, even though Alyssa's a total ass and ruins it, and goes back to her spa day. Not like this ghost has been trying to make contact with her sister for months on end. Okay, I'll read a few more. At this point, my point should be coming across pretty hard that she sucks. Oh, yeah. Okay, so after the spa day, page 249, tingles race through me and goosebumps rise to the surface of my arms. Despite my earlier reservations, there might be something to this gin and tarot club. If my gift can help people, I shouldn't turn my back on that. It's important work, and it's not the first time I've thought about using it for good. Could have fooled me. Not only do I feel empowered, but I also feel I might have found my purpose. Keep in mind, she's going to bitch about how these ghosts keep contacting her even after saying this. And then the most egregious. And then this last one is at the end of the book. So she and Nick are finally getting together. The rumor mills will be buzzing by tomorrow. The entire town has been jonesing for new gossip. Apparently, talk of murder is growing old. Nobody even likes you. Honestly, I Again, this character is just the worst. She flip-flops more than a fish that was just reeled in and dropped on the boat. She wants to make contact with her late husband, but doesn't believe in ghosts. She sees a ghost, but doesn't believe it, but then gets furious when her next-door neighbor thinks she's just dreaming about an intruder. She can contact the dead, but hates it and gets so mad when people question her, but she should also use this skill to help people. It really reminded me of when Alex reads Twilight, and he's all like, why does nothing please you? But in this case, like, why can't you pick a lane? Like, I could not stand her, and it just made this entire reading experience truly, truly awful. Okay, so let's actually get into it. So the book starts off with our protagonist, sitting like a sad schlub at home. She's reflecting on how poor her 40th is starting off. She had very different expectations, and I can't fault her for that. She lost her husband suddenly 2 years ago, and that is rough. I can't imagine what that would be like, and for anyone else, I would drum up some sympathy for it. And I did at first, but she went through that pretty fast. And again, that sympathy is lost pretty quickly when I did read the excerpt of her friends coming over to get her out of the house, and they find out that she's been hanging out, or that they've been hanging out without her. She was the one who would let them know when she was ready to go out. I'm so sorry, Alyssa, but you are not the life of the party. You are a certified party pooper. No wonder they kept going out without you. Then they offer to do something silly to pass the time and go do this tarot reading, but really turns into a seance, and Alyssa is suddenly into it. She forces her friends to go through with it. She is open. She wants to make contact with the dead. And she does. And now she is absolutely livid with Corinne, the woman who led the tarot reading. She blames her. How dare this woman do this and open the door to the dead? Bitch, you were the one who wanted to communicate with Garrett. It's supposed to be funny, but it's not, because she's so mean about it. This book is also supposed to be a romance, but I have stronger romantic feelings towards this glass of wine than there is between these two leads. I also gotta say, the beginning of this book is so clunky with setting up their friendship. I'm told about their history and their friendship, instead of actually just seeing it play out on page. I don't believe that these guys would actually be friends based on the conversations they have, because they're constantly just sniping at each other. But that could also just be because the dialogue in this is just plain bad. But I'm getting off track here, and I'm just quickly running out of wine. Back to the story. Alyssa's husband, Garrett, has passed away 2 years ago, and she tells him she wants to make contact. But a deceased man named Billy Garrett ends up making contact instead. It takes Alyssa's daughter, Ava, pointing out that this is probably why Billy came to her, as his last name is the same name as her father's. Alyssa could not figure this out on her own, even though he introduces himself with his full name. She sees Billy at the end of her bed, and he says, you called out to me. She runs from her house and right into her neighbor Nick's house, who happens to be a detective. He sweeps her home and finds absolutely no one there, because no one is there. She tells him Billy's name, and he's surprised, as he knows who Billy is, and he knows Billy is dead. She ignores all of this, and her daughter comes into town, and her daughter is, rightfully so, worried about Alyssa. You're honestly a few years too late there, Ava. Ava takes her mom shopping, and they go visit this antique store, and Alyssa sees a dish collection that she really wants. She finds out that the woman who sold it did so to pay for her son's funeral. Ava recalls that this woman also lost her daughter a few years ago. Alyssa's takeaway? It's sad this lady had to sell her dishes. Even Ava is no, Mom, I meant that it's sad that her children are dead. Alyssa remembers that she's a human being for a second and should have some sympathy for this woman, but no time for that because we need to crack some jokes about a cat licking its balls for some reason. Alyssa blushes at the mere mention of this, supposed Turkish proverb, but this is also coming from the woman whose computer password is boobs14. Are we sure Alyssa is turning 40 and not 14? Alyssa then runs back to Corinne to try and talk to her and figure out what's going on, and she's a real bitch to her even though she needs her help. Like, lovely. Like, I hate to read so much at you, but like, you have to look at this. Or I guess you have to hear this. So on page 103, she tells Corinne about Billy making an appearance, and she's like, okay, I'll come help you. Like, I'll bring the sage. I nod. Let's go, I say, jumping to my feet and grabbing the book. I'm assuming you're letting me borrow this? Yes on the book, but no to the leaving. I still have clients. Cancel them. This is important, I grind out, waving my free hand in the air to signal for her to hurry up. You caused this. You're going to fix it. I didn't cause anything, she bites, tugging on her flowy black skirt that's caught on something. You did, with your overeager openness. You make me sound like some sort of psychic hussy. She yanks once more and the skirt rips, causing Corinne to stomp her foot in annoyance. She tilts her head and raises one palm up. Next time, think before you go opening yourself up to other dimensions. You could have lived blissfully in denial the rest of your life if you'd been more careful. This all would have been great information to have before I touched you, I snarl through clenched teeth, spinning on my heels and making my way out of the small room. What's meant to be will be, and it seems you were destined to unlock your potential. Lucky for me, you helped unlock mine as well, she calls to my back. Sounds like you owe me. Big time. I stress the word big, even though it's in italics. I know it's supposed to be stressed. Hoping she realizes that she's not going to be filing nails the rest of today. I'm prepared to drag her out, kicking and screaming if she resists. I turn to confirm she's still following me. We close early on Sundays, so you can wait until I've finished with my last few clients. I'll help you, but then you owe me. I don't bother asking her what more she could possibly want from me. I'm too eager to get the ghost busting underway. If I'm lucky, Billy Garrett will be well on his way to the pearly gates or land of fire by nightfall. The woman who's empowered by realizing she has the gift to help people move on, but sure, send them straight to hell. Why can't you go to hell, Alyssa? And it's really this back and forth nature of trying to create like conflict, but it's more irritating, not intriguing. Like, Corinne has more patience than I do, and does not immediately tell Alyssa to get bent and go away, but does offer to help. She says she needs to understand her abilities to communicate with the dead and help them move on. Alyssa just wants the ghost gone, but won't do anything to achieve that goal. She's just going to complain about it the entire time. So again, Corinne gives her a book of spells and meditation guides to help her channel her powers. Alyssa declares it total crap. Corinne asks Alyssa, have you tried talking to Billy to understand like what his unfinished business is? No, she has not. But doesn't anyone see how inconvenient it is for Alyssa to have to help the dearly departed? Except, again, it's not really, because Alyssa has no job. She is living off Garrett's insurance and has nothing going on in her life. Even her teenage daughter is away at boarding school. She has nothing but time. She could help. She could be empathetic, especially since she's all, I wonder if, like, is Garrett stuck here? I really hope someone is being nice and helping him. Maybe that's why you don't see him, Alyssa, because you're not nice and you are clearly unhelpful. So finally, she does have a conversation with Billy the Ghost and realizes that he died in a very similar way to her husband. Maybe their deaths are connected. Ooh. I'm not going to leave you in suspense or build this up because this mystery is kind of half-assed anyway. As are, honestly, all the elements in this book. It's not, because again, it's not really a romance. It's not really a woman learning about her new special gift. It's not even funny. Basically, Billy was run off the road by a drunk driver named Charlie, who's the son of the mayor, so his crime is covered up. Charlie blabbed to somebody, and Daddy Mayor found out and put a hit on the guy that Charlie talked to. Then found out that this girl, Jenna, also knew about Charlie's crime, and Jenna and Garrett drove the same kind of car. Garrett died because the hitman got the wrong person. It's convoluted as hell, but it's just honestly there in the background, and it gets resolved so quickly. Like, we don't really start getting to the mystery until about 200 pages in, and then it's resolved rather quickly. They try to hint at, like, some cover-up by the mayor, but it mostly just makes me think that Nick and his fellow detectives are completely incompetent. The standards for these investigations are so low. The bar is in hell. It is amazing that this podunk bar that sells a cheeseburger for $5.50 still has surveillance videos from 2 years ago and they're such good quality that Nick is able to piece together some of these clues. Like, they also try to cover it up that Billy took his own life and left a note. And what do you know? The note was forged. Was no one familiar with Billy's handwriting allowed to see the note? Did they not ask a handwriting specialist? Oh, and one of Alyssa's best friends is married to the mayor, and he has some sort of blackmail on her. Does that subplot get resolved at the end? You bet your ass it doesn't. Sequel bait. I also have to bring up something that was just kind of gross and bad writing. All of the bad guys in this, they're ugly, they're bald, they're greasy, they're tattooed, they're described in unflattering terms and said to be super menacing. They're stocky and scary looking. Like, seriously, on page 287, it reads, "As the truck slowly rolls past us, heading towards the exit, my eyes collide with the man's black orbs. A demonic smile spreads across the driver's face as he gets a look at me. My skin crawls from the unwanted attention. There's something evil about him." You know what, Alyssa? Hot people can be evil too. It was just worse when one of the shady characters is described by his brown skin color. I flipped back through the book and found only 2 other mentions of people's skin color, and they are our supposed good characters, and both Alyssa and Billy are described as pale. It just, ooh, that rubbed me the wrong way. Like, either describe everyone or don't. Like, don't especially call attention to it when it's only the bad characters who have certain complexions. And it's honestly so silly how these evil-looking men are bad. Like, spoiler, they're tied to major crimes and money laundering. Like, you would think that they might try to blend in a little bit better and not be so obvious and use demonic smiles. Or you might think that they'd try to find, like, attractive hitmen, or at least be people that are charming to butter people up and get them to comply more easily. It just, so cartoonish. So, anyway, figuring out this mystery, Alyssa is able to pass along clues from the deceased to Nick and helps him solve the case. In doing so, she and Nick get closer and bring us the romance element. It really felt like Holtz likes the smoldering chemistry of enemies to lovers and forced Nick and Alyssa to be that. But they're really not. They're neighbors, and Alyssa was married for most of that time. Nick has been nice to her and helps take care of her trash and brings in her mail since, Garrett has died and she's been alone. And this absolutely annoys Alyssa to no end. How dare he try to be helpful? Alyssa has been grieving, but suddenly realizes that, Nick is really hot and has one sex dream about him, and bam, she has forgotten all about Garrett and is ready to bang the hot neighbor. Honestly, I don't know what Nick sees in her. He even starts off the book by calling her the standoffish widow next door. Like, he has some sense about him, and unfortunately, his little head overrules the head on his shoulders, and he lusts after her and tries to win her heart. Joke's on you, Nick. She doesn't have one. Oh, and that woman who lost both of her children and had to sell those dishes that Alyssa wanted, that daughter who died was engaged to Nick. Do they bond over their shared loss? Nope. But we hear how hilarious their off-screen conversations are. Can I be there? Like, not that I'd actually find them funny, but I would like to see the chemistry and romance between these 2 characters instead of being told about it. Now, we do see them kiss, and there's Alyssa's naughty nighttime dream about him. But that's all the spice this book has, which is honestly a good thing, because I don't think I could have taken it. And, of course, they end up together in the end, and Nick is so contrite for not believing in her abilities right away, and now they're the talk of the town. Not sure why. Or again, I guess everyone is really wondering if she's not lying about being in touch with the supernatural, but is actually a witch and cast a spell on him to love her, as no one in their right mind would actually want to be with Alyssa. Oh my god, I could not stand her. And she doesn't get better throughout the book. There are times she admits to her faults, but doesn't go about fixing them or being better to those that she loves. She also has the Mary Sue problem of having a faux flaw. One of her flaws is how clumsy she is, but it's barely there, doesn't impact the plot, and isn't a real flaw. It just allows her to trip over her own 2 feet and fall right into Nick's strong arms. I truly hated her throughout the book and did not find her funny once. She is just downright mean. And if that weren't bad enough, the plot points are not strong enough to carry this book. I've already said the romance isn't there, the mystery isn't really there until it is, and this book just could not commit tonally. If you want a cozy mystery, commit to the bit. It felt like this was having a serious identity crisis and didn't know how to come up with real conflict or tension, so everyone's just an asshole. We'll have characters snipe at each other and act inconsistent throughout this entire thing. Like at first, Lanny is all about ghosts and the supernatural, and then she's not, and then she is, and then she's not, and then she is. It's exhausting. I have to add that the writing in this is just not that great either. Now it is a debut. But editor, did you fall asleep on the job? Again, I'm going to give some grace because it is a debut, but my god, did this book overdo the descriptions, especially in people's actions and reactions. Now, do not, I repeat, do not turn reading this into a drinking game, because you will die if you are taking a drink every time someone smirks, snorts, or bobs their head. Bonus points for glaring, quirking eyebrows, or waggling something, either their eyebrows or their fingers. I started counting how many times people were smirking or snorting and stopped counting when I hit 15 mentions of each within the first 30 pages. Change up how you're describing what people are doing, and honestly, this book could have toned it down a little bit. It could have benefited from telling instead of showing for once, and I don't feel like I say that very often. This was just a very painful read, and something I should have DNF'd, but I could not stop myself. Truly, I hate reading this by the end, and I wanted Alyssa to become a ghost and be stuck with someone just like her. I gave this 1 star because I did finish it and praise Satan for small miracles because this was a rough road. I'm stealing from the ghosts in this when I have this word to say about my reading experience. Boo. Not happy. Cannot recommend this book. Now, if you do have recommendations for good ghost stories, hell, I'll even take a ghostly romance, a cute, charming story, what have you, I would love to hear about it, as, again, this had so many of the elements that I should like. This was just bad. But please do leave your recommendations in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again at another wine club.